Greetings and welcome to Infodome, where we curate facts about a wide selection of topics for you to feed your curiosity. In this series, we are travelling across the cosmos to give you facts about the solar system. As we travel outwards, away from the Sun, we come across a very distant and cold world, Uranus. William Herschel discovered Uranus in 1781. The planet is too dim to have been seen by ancient civilizations. Herschel himself believed that Uranus was a comet at first, but several years later it was confirmed as a planet, making Uranus the first planet discovered in modern history. The original name proposed by Herschel was Georgian Sidus, after King George III, but the scientific community didn't take to it. Instead, Uranus was proposed and accepted by astronomer Johann Bode. It comes from an ancient Greek god, Uranus, god of the sky. According to myth, he was the father of Saturn and the grandfather of Jupiter. Bode's colleague, Martin Klaproth, supported his choice and named his newly discovered element uranium. Out here, distances between worlds are measured in the billions of kilometres. This is why only one probe has made the journey out there. It is important to note that each planet orbits the Sun at different speeds, and for most of the time they are scattered around the Sun. But once every 175 years, the outer planets align, creating a path that leads from Earth, past Jupiter and Saturn, all the way to Uranus and Neptune. Voyager 2 was launched at the right moment to take advantage of this rare alignment, to make the journey out to the icy worlds and beyond. It took Voyager 2 almost 9 years to reach the planet. It sits about 1.8 billion miles, that's 2.9 billion kilometres away from the Sun. As Uranus is the 7th planet from the Sun, it barely receives any light, which makes it impossible to see without a telescope. Uranus is about 4 times wider than the Earth. If the Earth were a large apple, Uranus would be about the size of a basketball. However, it isn't as dense. Like the other gas giants closer to the Sun, Saturn and Neptune, scientists know this planet is made up of gases. Uranus has an atmosphere made mostly of molecular hydrogen and atomic helium, with a small amount of methane. It is comprised of 3 main layers: a small rocky core, surrounded by water, ammonia and methane, which makes up the bulk of the planet. The uppermost layer is incredibly dense and hot, unlike Uranus's other neighbours. Due to these distinguishing features, Uranus is known as an ice giant. Studies of the upper dense layer of the planet have shown that the pressure is enough to squeeze the carbon into the atmosphere so fiercely it actually forms diamonds. What a sight to see, diamonds falling down like hailstones. However, we will never know. When we have observed this planet, we are only able to see the topmost layer of clouds, so the rest is a mystery. The methane molecules in the atmosphere absorb all the red light from the Sun, giving Uranus this beautiful blue-green glow. Although on first inspection it does look a little, boring. It is remarkably featureless and doesn't have bands, hexagonal storm features or giant spots. However, looking at the planet in infrared, we can see a few faint bands, which are storm clouds rising and falling to produce these bands surrounding the planet. Uranus is more stormy than we first thought. When Voyager 2 flew by the planet in the 1980s, scientists saw a mostly featureless blue ball and assumed there wasn't much activity going on. We've had a better look at the data since then, and that it does show some interesting movement in the southern hemisphere. Additionally, the planet drew closer to the Sun in 2007, and in more recent years telescope probing has shown some storms going on. What is causing all this activity is difficult to say unless scientists send another probe that way. and unfortunately there are no missions yet that are slated for sure to zoom out to that part of the solar system. As you would expect, Uranus is cold, close to -220 degrees Celsius, the coldest planet in the solar system, lying in a permanent state of deep freeze. Uranus takes about 17 hours to rotate once, and about 84 Earth years to complete an orbit of the Sun, a Uranian year. Its axis is at 98 degrees, which means it almost lies sideways as it orbits the Sun. This means that the north and south poles of Uranus lie near where the equator is on Earth. During parts of its orbit, one or the other of the poles directly faces the Sun, which means the planet gets around 42 years of direct sunlight, followed by 42 years of darkness. Like Venus, it turns in a retrograde direction, which is opposite to the direction of Earth and the other 6 planets. A collision may have caused the unusual tilt of Uranus. The theory is that an Earth-sized planet may have collided with Uranus, which forced its axis to drastically tilt. Uranus has 27 known moons, 5 larger moons, and 24 smaller bodies which orbit the ice giant. They are named after characters from the works of William Shakespeare and Alexander Pope. For example, there's Oberon, Titania, and Miranda. All these worlds are frozen with dark surfaces, and some are a mixture of ice and rock. Of the Uranian moons, the most interesting is Miranda, which has ice canyons, terraces, and a very strange looking surface. Miranda is home to Verona Rupees, a cliff that, as of 2016, is estimated to be 20 kilometers high. That's 10 times the depth of the Earth's Grand Canyon, which makes it the tallest known cliff in the solar system. Given Miranda's low gravity, it would take around 12 minutes to fall from the top, reaching the bottom at a speed of about 200 kilometers per hour. Even so, the fall might be survivable given proper airbag protection. Uranus has 13 known rings. The inner rings are dark and narrow, and the outer rings are brightly coloured and usually a few kilometres wide. They were in fact discovered by accident in 1977. Astronomers were observing Uranus passing directly in front of a star, hoping to gather data on the planet's atmosphere. Having seen dips in the light, it was confirmed the phenomena was due to rings blocking the light. It is believed that the rings are probably quite young, created by the matter thought to be parts of a moon or moons that were shattered by high-speed impacts with an orbit such as a comet or an asteroid. It is important to note that a ring particle, or moon for that matter, travels slowly the closer to the planet and more quickly the further away. So the moons and their gravitational pull keep the rings moving and help hold their structure. Uranus is a cold and desolate world, but full of wonders we are yet to discover. Each time we visit one of the planets in our solar system, we discover something new, and this shifts our thinking and perceptions beyond our comprehension. Thank you for watching this video, and in our next and final episode in the solar system series, we will venture to the most distant planet ever visited, Neptune.